Cardiovascular Institute of the South is celebrating 40 years of delivering healthcare to our patients and communities. Founded by Dr. Craig Walker in 1983 and guided by a mission to provide the highest quality cardiovascular care available, CIS has pioneered hundreds of firsts to improve outcomes for cardiovascular diseases. Through new technology, virtual care, outpatient procedures, and national growth, CIS is improving lives and leading the way for advanced care and innovation.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Bayou Time. Harry McCullough here. The Terrebonne Parish Council meeting is on Wednesday. Here with the preview is Council Chair John Amedee. Thanks so much for being with us, man. Y'all ready to go?
We are ready to go.
Is this the first one since the storm?
Yes, we had committee meetings last night, but this is the first council meeting.
Yeah.
So busy, I had to think about it. Wait, where are we?
Which day is it, right? Which storm is it? As hopefully this other one will go with somebody else. But
absolutely.
We don't wish that on anybody, but we've had our share. So
yes.
Anyway, so as we get for a council meeting, do you have to catch up on storm related stuff? Is that the first order of business or?
Actually, because of the low impact that this storm had on the parish, we're business as usual. We'll provide updates on what's taking place. A lot of people are wondering about when the tree limbs, all that's going to be picked up, and that's moving forward. A lot of places have already completed the first pass. Some are just getting the first pass, but they'll be coming back around as the need exists. Garbage pickup is, I think, caught up and moving forward on what it's doing, and the government's still clicking.
It is remarkable how fast things have gotten back to normal. Not to say anything about Morgan City, but they're having a little more trouble. Obviously, we had a heck of a first run 3-4 years ago.
Exactly. So it's still fresh in our mind. And Unfortunately, like I've said before, we've gotten really good at this.
Right.
So yeah, we're doing real well.
Good. A couple of things that'll be on an ordinance on borrow pits. You want to tell me about that?
Yeah. So, a lot of people don't like regulation. Some people believe regulation is necessary. And then you have to find that common balance. And with some of these ordinances, like this borrow pit ordinance, what our purpose is that we're trying to achieve a proper balance between development, conservation, restoration of our marshes, creation, creating new marsh with the planting of grass and stuff, and just the whole nourishment of our coastal resources. So whenever we're doing something for the benefit, we have to make sure that we look at all angles and not just, one-sided.
Mm-hmm. So as you guys look at it, it's some of the regulations. It's about where they can be and those kind of things.
Right. So we have to keep public safety in view. So some of the regulations that we're putting forth is that they have to be 75 feet from the property lines, from parish roads, parish streets, and then you have to be 150 feet from like a state road right of way. We don't want them right up against the roads because the roads will start falling off into them. 150 feet from the Morganza levees. We have to watch out for drainage, things like that. Possible new roads that we have in the plan. We want to make sure that, somebody doesn't dig a pit and then we have to go back and fill it in to build a road. So, we're looking into the future to make sure that we can cover as many bases as we can so that we don't have to come back and amend anything in the near future. Yeah. But sometimes you don't always catch everything.
Sure. And that obviously that's one of the ways we've been made levees affordable kind of is to being able to have local materials that you can use, but you also don't want to have just roads and lakes on sided roads.
Exactly. And Harry, there's a couple other things that we've picked up on throughout the years through the experience of that. And we want to make sure that when these trucks are entering the highways that they're not tracking mud and causing accidents. So we put in there that they have to make sure they keep the road free from mud and debris 500 feet on either side of that entrance. I know some of the work that we've done, we run in a street sweeper constantly just to make sure because of the liability of that. Another thing that we're putting in here is that we'll have no borrow pits in the urban planning district. Out on Bayou, there's a lot of empty property out there, and we want that for residential and business construction, and we want to protect that area. So the urban district runs like Savannah, Bayou Gardens through St. Louis Canal Road, downtown to the bridges, across to the airport, down Woodland Ranch Road, kind of to Grand Caille, circles back around Industrial, back across the bridges, Barrios, that area down to South Hollywood Road, back to Valhalla. So it's a pretty big area. We just want to protect that. But if you have a home and you want to do a pond, then we address that as well. And you get similar regulations for the ponds, having to be 75 feet away from the property lines, or 150 feet away from a platted subdivision development, things like that. And a lot of that has to do with property values, but mostly safety of the residents.
Yeah, and like I say, if you want to build a pond, use that dirt to build a foundation so you above the floodplain or whatever.
Right.
That's different than a borrow pit.
Exactly. And, you know, and a lot of times some of the people that do the borrow pits, they do them outside of the public view, so it doesn't have to be aesthetically nice, where some of them do. If you go down to Lodge, they have a really nice one down there where the owner of that one really dressed it up, made it a recreational area for his family. And but with the ponds, you know, people want that as well, whether they do them in front of their structure or behind their structure, and source it with fish. And you know, with grandkids, it's probably a good thing.
Sure.
A safe place that they can go and spend some recreation time.
Like I say, really, and done right. I was telling you, I lived in Madisonville, right off I-12, and they had pits that they did the interstate over bridges with, but that lake turned into a great place where my son and I used to fish, and you know, you could do all kind of activities there, and it was great. And now they have beautiful homes that are right on those things. So yeah, done right, it can be really
And that's
nice.
the thing you want to watch out for, is future development. So you want to consider that as well.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Okay, so we got plenty more to talk about. We want to talk about fireworks and the definition of public display. We have a few other things to get to, but we'll take a first break.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back with more with John Amedee right here on Bayou Time.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.
Hey, welcome back to Bayou Time. We're spending some time with John Amedee, of course, the council chair. Terrebonne Parish meeting will be on Wednesday. We talked about the borrow pits, but let's move over to fireworks, and maybe a little confusion. They were allowed in Terrebonne Parish, but not in the city limits. So you guys want to kind of clean that up?
So we want to clean up a little bit because, you know, a lot of times you do something and you don't always catch everything, and you have to come back and amendment. And one of the things that we did is we allowed the ban in the city limits of Houma, without realizing that we have an annual fireworks display at the Civic Center every year. This year we moved it over to the sports complex because we didn't allow fireworks within the city limits. So we're adding a definition in there of public display that comes out of the state statutes that's going to allow organizations to be able to file for a permit to be able to do a public display. It has a lot of rules and regulations, making sure that it's done professionally and not just somebody going out and buy a bunch of fireworks and popping them off. It's going to be a controlled environment. So we wanted to make sure that we entered that into it. And we've gotten a lot of requests from other neighborhoods that are wanting to opt out within the parish. So what we're setting up there is an avenue to be able to opt out or ban fireworks in your neighborhood. But the public has to understand, you know, when we were talking about it, some of the people were saying, well, why we need to sign a petition? Well, we are still a democracy. Mm-hmm. And if 7 people in a neighborhood come and want something and we change it, and then 200 people come the next day and want to change it back, then we want to make sure that the majority of the neighborhood is in favor of whatever is going on.
Not
so
just the loud ones.
Exactly. So we put that provision, or we're putting that provision in to have a petition. We've done the same thing with the speed humps in the parish. You know, a lot of people wanted speed humps, and it's like, well, that's fine, but let's get a petition of all the people that's going to be affected and see if they want it or not before we spend the money on doing that.
Yeah, it's good.
So while it's not perfect for everybody, it does give people an opportunity if they want to ban fireworks in their area.
Yeah, so if you're a church or an organization like that and want to get a permit, you can do that.
You'll be able to do that now. If you're outside the city limits, then you're free to go. And we recommend that they do it anyway. If you're going to put on a big public display, then you want to do it right. You want to have professionals come and do it. Another thing that we wanted to clean up is that the vendors in the original ordinance, it just said that they had to remove signs within 10 days. Well, now we're putting in there that they're going to have to remove all their signage, tents, stands, fixtures, equipment. Basically, they're going to have to clean up, move out
Everything.
within 10 days of the end of the sales period, which is defined in the ordinance.
I got you. And then when can they start?
There are particular
10 days
dates.
before? Yeah.
There's a particular date in the ordinance. I don't remember right now
You're right.
exactly what they are.
I got you.
But it gives them a time of sale.
So they just take down the sign and leave the tent. I got you.
Yeah, well, we want to make sure, that they get everything cleared so we can move on.
Sure. No, absolutely. You see that with a lot of stores now for
Yeah.
Halloween, those kind of things where they just come in seasonally,
Right.
And so, yeah, you definitely want that cleaned up. Well, let's talk about a couple other things.
Sure.
As the support for constitutional amendment number 1 on the upcoming ballot.
All right, so what that is in the legislative session, Representative Joe Orgeron of Lafourche Parish got this bill passed. It's now an act in Louisiana. It's a law in Louisiana that if and when federal revenue sharing comes as a result of energy production, mainly we're looking at wind energy, but any new energy resource, if that becomes a reality, that Louisiana is going to commit those funds to the Coastal Trust Fund so that we can work on our coastal projects. So it'll go into CPRA's Coastal Trust Fund and be spent. That way, it's a guarantee that we'll have some more money to complete the project of preparing our coast for the future.
So all types of energy or just new?
Well, right now we're already participating in a lot of oil and gas energy, but any type of renewable energy that comes up, we'll be able to get it in there.
So it'd be wind, hydrogen. Those are kind of things they're looking
Right.
at now. So
Yep,
I'm
any
sure.
type.
I got you.
Any type.
Approve K&B Machine Works to participation in the industrial tax exempt program.
So you hear a lot about the ITEP over the past couple of years, and this is a program that the state does to help businesses promote growth. And I got to tell you, the Woods have done a fabulous job with K&B Machine. They're thinking future, and they're really growing and adding a lot of jobs. And this is one that we're going to do on Wednesday. And they've got guidelines that they have to meet within their number of temporary jobs, number of permanent jobs. So they have to be able to meet those goals to really qualify. But it helps them to be able to grow and expand those businesses, which, does good for our community.
Absolutely.
Our
You
workers.
just got to drive out 311 out there and see what the Woods are doing out of K&B and some of those other ones that have left
We've
town.
recently done one with Morrison, Bollinger,
Right.
the Schwesh group,
Danos,
and things that they do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's really good.
Really good. And yeah, those we got to take care of those kind of people in our area for sure. Okay, to sign and submit the 2024 Community Development Block Grant and Home Investment Partnership Program.
All right, so we do a lot of CBDG projects. This particular one is one that the Housing and Human Services Department, Kelly Venardo, heads up. And a lot of people may not even be aware of it, but this is one particular grant that they can take this money and help people to redo their homes to make them more energy efficient. Maybe they'll get new windows or a certain type of roof insulation and things like that. And this is a project that Kelly tells me they have to produce a 5-year plan. It can be modified as they go along, but every year they have to do something on this in order to get this grant. It's about $800,000. And if you see those Terrebonne Parish trucks with the cargo trailers, those
That's what
are the
they're doing.
guys that are gone out there. I think it's 5 employees that she has that goes out and does a really good job for our low income people and that really can't afford to do those things.
Absolutely. Okay, so council meeting Wednesday, what time?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it, John.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be back. More Bayou time right after.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.